everything they can for us to have some kind of season for, baseball, softball, track, tennis team out there. They haven't canceled anything as of yet. They basically put us on a dead period, which means that we can't be at any of the facilities, and we can't really do anything as a group. They did ease it up a little bit. We can talk to athletes, but we really can't get together and do anything organized at this time, which is tough for us. But I imagine it's probably even worse for the baseball and softball team, just because there's just a little bit more involved with what they do every day, between throwing,
right.
hitting. Those are things you just need to practice on a daily basis. Whereas, with us, it'll be a little easier for us to get back into the groove if we're fortunate enough to have a season. I imagine the KHSA doesn't want to cancel, one, because we just never, we've never gone a year without having a season, or, even basketball. They haven't canceled that yet. And so I think they're really trying hard to just take it kind of week by week and follow along and see what's going to happen. And hopefully maybe we can manage something. I know, especially for those kids that are seniors, this is, really bad. At the college level, they can grant them an extra year. Of course, at high school, nobody wants to come back and be a fifth-year senior in high school. So it's tough. My son plays college baseball. This was his senior year. And he went in one day and it was just over. And so it's been tough on athletes really across the board at every level.
Well, and really, I guess the one thing, now I don't know what happens at everybody else's house. I happen to have one of his track kids that he puts up with all the time. But it's one of those things where, track is fortunate enough that they can actually practice on their own. They can get out and run a trail. They can get out and run and practice that without actually having to be there at school to do it.
This is true. You can get out, at least keep your legs underneath you, keep your conditioning. Some of the specifics, form and things like that, I can't help with, unless they're right there. But yeah, before we left, I sent out a thing, an email and said, hey, if you're a sprinter, you should be, running about this much. If you're, doing the middle distances, try this. And if you're a distance runner, you need to be out and getting a couple miles, every day while, when it's nice. So it is something where they can kind of keep up, with baseball. It's a little trickier, softball, tennis, it's a little harder because, they're banned from a lot of the places that they would normally go and do work. But, for track, if you got a street, you got somewhere to practice.
Right. Well, I think that I've seen multiple. You should be proud because I think I've seen multiple of your kids on your team that have been practicing on their own and doing those things. I know CJ does. I mean, that's one of those things that they want to get out and they want to get that fresh air, and it's kind of a fun thing and a track thing all at the same time.
Yeah. Any excuse to get out of the house right now, I think works for anybody. I've been tempted to go out and run a couple times, and I remembered that. I'm too old for that. So. But, it's nice, when you can get out and, and they can keep their legs under them, and hopefully, maybe we get lucky and this thing kind of starts turning around for everybody and we get a chance to get back, back out there and have some kind of a season before the end of the year.
Well, now, and here's the other thing. Now, we had a 5K coming up too, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, that hurts on the funding side for us, and that's a pretty good fundraiser for us. But, it's part of it. You have to adjust. We were pretty fortunate this year. The school's really kind of starting to get behind the program. And we're growing. The program's growing. The community sees it. The school sees it. And so, the school had really gotten behind us this year. We got a lot of new equipment. We got new uniforms that are just sitting there at the school in a box. And, but it's kind of part of it. We got to do what we got to do to keep everybody safe. But on the other hand, it is good to see, where we're going as a program. And fortunately, really for us on the track side, I only had 2 seniors.
I started to say, how many seniors did you have this year that are going to be missing out on that?
We had 2, and I was pretty excited to see those guys come out. And I thought that with them, we're going to do some pretty positive things. I thought we had a chance to go back to state again this year in a couple of different events. We made it last year.
Well, give them some love. Tell everybody who they are.
It was Darius Riley and Jamarius Blaine. So a couple guys off the basketball team. Once basketball ended, took about a week off and decided to ask, came and asked me if they could join the track team. And certainly I was going to let them do that. They just got done with basketball, which is pretty grueling. And, they had taken a week off to just kind of, after being seniors and, the season coming to an end of a sport that they really loved. And, they came and asked me, it's like, oh, yeah, guys, certainly you can. Normally I'd tell, my athletes if they've played basketball, my girls basketball players, my guys basketball players, hey, take a few days off, take a weekend or something, and, you can start back up the next week just to give them, kind of a mental break, kind of a physical break for a little bit. And then I don't worry about them being in shape when they come to track practice.
No, I wouldn't imagine.
Coach K and Coach Mitchell run them plenty, so they're good to go when they hit track.
Now, when you mentioned the jerseys, now where did all the you had some help with that as well, right? I mean, where did as far as jerseys go and that sort of thing? Now, that's where some of that 5K was supposed to come in.
Well, the 5K that we use that on the track when we do fundraising on the track side. That we use that. I use that money for a bunch of different things. My biggest thing that I use any of our fundraising money for is for gear for the kids and equipment that we might need over and beyond what the school does. I really look at our relationship with the school as a partnership.
Okay.
I don't expect the school to pay for everything. Track's not a big revenue producer. We don't have big crowds at track meets, and I understand that. So I work really hard on the fundraising side. One, so we can have the equipment we have, and then the other thing is I really, really believe in every kid that wants to come out and run track should be able to come and run track, and that money shouldn't be an issue. I don't want a kid to come to me and say, hey, Coach, I can't run this year because, things are kind of tight. That's never going to be an issue on the track team.
Right.
Track's not super expensive, but, it could still be a burden for, a lot of people, and I don't want that to be the case. I don't want them to, not be able to participate in a sport because of money. And so that's a big part of where our fundraising goes. And then I use the rest of it. We get gear. This year we got sweatshirts, long sleeve T-shirts. We got sweatpants, all of that stuff. I think the kids paid $30 this year to participate in track.
And those were so cool looking too, by the way.
Yeah, and the uniforms actually were really nice. I
was so jealous.
They're pretty sweet. But see, the school actually, that's where the school really came in for us. There's a rotation about every 5 years. Teams get new uniforms, and track hadn't gotten uniforms in a while, and it wasn't the school's fault. It wasn't like they were picking on us. It was simply the fact that the track program really was kind of a mess before I got there. They had 8 athletes the year before I got there. 2019 was my first year at Caldwell with the track team. We had 29 athletes, and then this year we have 48. We had almost 50 athletes this year. So the program's growing. The school, is taking notice, and that's where they really kind of stepped in for us. And we got, nice uniforms. We got Nike. We got basically the same uniform that LSU wears. So.
Oh, wow. It makes you want to run track. If that's what you get to wear. You had a bonkers amount of middle schoolers come out this year, right? I mean, so you're going to get to replenish this team if you ever get back to it.
That's the idea. This isn't going to be forever. And, I'll lose 2 this year, and I'm bringing back a pretty strong team next year. I had a couple kids were out hurt. So really, that 50 number is pretty attainable. And, big part of it was the middle schoolers, and I'm excited. There's some that participated in 2019, Allie Southard and Avery Wells and TJ Goodwin. And, those kids jumped in and really participated and actually contributed last year. Some of them got medals last year at regionals.
Now, are they bumping up to high school? Or are they going to be bumping up to high school level, or are they still going to be 7th grade?
Now, they were 7th graders in 2019, so they were 8th graders this year.
Okay.
And then I've got, a good group. I've got several 7th graders that came out this year. And, I don't expect those kids necessarily contribute this year or maybe even not next year, but it's what they're going to be when they get to high school. They're going to know what we do and how we go about things and what to expect at track meets. And so some of that intimidation, some of the nerves and butterflies will be gone. And then, as I graduate some of those older kids, they're going to be ready to step right in.
So what events do we have people in at this point? Because I know track, it's so wide open as far as so many different, events. Which ones do we have people competing in now?
So we've got pretty much everybody across the board. We've got somebody in every event. Now, last year, I had 5 girls events at regionals. I didn't have anybody in. This year, I would have had every event. So you're talking everything you basically see at the Olympics.
Wow.
The 100, 200 meters, 400, which is a lap, 800, 1600, which is a mile, 4 laps, and it goes all the way up to 3200, hurdle events. Then you've got, the relays, 4x1, 4x2, 4x4, which the 4x1 boys team last year is one of the ones that went to state. And then in the field, you've got, the classic stuff. You've got the shot put and the discus. You've got high jump and long jump and the triple jump. The only thing we don't have is pole vaulting. So that's the only event. So there's 17 different events out there.
So if your kid is interested, you can figure out a way to get them involved, right?
Oh, yeah. I have one girl, Annabelle Conger. She's in my 7th grade class. And she, you get to know, one of the great things about, teaching is, you kind of get to know your kids a little bit. And just talking to her, she had mentioned that she does dance, and she's a fairly tall girl. She's about 5'7". And so, my brain's always thinking, how can I find somebody? Where can I find somebody? Who can I recruit? I just talked to her a little bit. I said, hey, why don't you come out and try high jumping? And, it's not that different from what you do in dance. So you jump a lot in dance. There's steps to it. There's a certain way that you have to, go about this. And so she came out and just kind of, for lack of a better term, jumped right into it. And when we got the mat out and were able to put the bar up, she was doing pretty good. I'm pretty excited about what, she could potentially do in the future.
Well, I think that's exciting. I really do. And it's a sport that if they get involved in middle school, you can actually offer them that not something that not a lot of other sports can offer. You can offer them varsity very early.
Yeah, it's not like, football, you're limited. They restrict you in football by age, which is a good thing. And
trust us, sometimes that can be a really good thing.
Yes, yeah. As a football mom, how that goes. So, but like baseball or softball, there's just the size difference. But in some events in track, a lot of times, especially like at distance, where the power's not as involved, you get these young kids that are just full of energy and they can just go forever. And so you can just cut them loose and let them run, 800 or 1600 meters. And even the younger kids that are just learning, they get a chance to work around these older kids and see. And I think, our team, it's one of the things I'm most proud of with our team is, one, how they conduct themselves when we go out in the community, whether it's to other track meets or things like that. They're very good representation of the school in our area. The other thing is that they're really it's a good team. It's a good group of kids. They all kind of get along. They hold each other accountable. We laugh a lot, at track practice and things. I tell them, I was like, it's time to have a little fun. We'll have a little fun. When it's time to work, we're going to work. And they get right to it. So,
well, I will say the ones that have you in class really enjoy you as a history teacher as well.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I try to make it interesting. I know history isn't always the most fun subject for folks, for a lot of kids. So, I try and tie it to, what's going on today, and, try and work in some fun stuff to talk about, and some of the weird things that go on in history. Usually they pay the most attention when either something really weird is going on or we're killing a lot of people. That usually gets the most attention.
What's the biggest struggle right now for you as a teacher at the high school? Like, trying to do the NTI thing and the packet. What has been the biggest struggle for you?
Trying not to give them anything too long, but give them something, interesting to read or do that they can complete, 20 or 30 minutes each day. Not anchor them down, because, when you're home, there's a lot of distractions. You've got, TV and outside, and you can just walk away. It's not like class where you can just get up and walk out. When you're at home, you can get up off the couch and go outside and,
right.
Or, turn on the Xbox or your PlayStation and get on there and play with your friends for a while. And so it's, can I give them something that's, relevant, that's moving them along, according to the curriculum. And then, make it interesting. So I've been trying to keep it short, give them interesting things, little things. One of the ironic things that came up was we were just starting the Middle Ages when school got out, which includes the plague. So, we kind of tied that into what was going on with today's world. And then, so it's a challenge, try to just keep them engaged, but not throw too much at them that they just walk away from it.
Well, and what we would like to know, CJ and I would like to know if we can get some extracurricular points or whatever for watching the History Channel. Because we do a lot of that at my house, and as a newly substitute teacher, I can tell you I'm really not very good at the rest of it, but I can watch the History Channel like a mad woman. So
Oh.
I think you ought to give extra credit for that.
So sometimes I really like the History Channel, and some things I just like.
I know.
Ancient aliens. I always tell my kids, look, just because the people in ancient times were terrible artists doesn't mean there were aliens. Okay,
I'm still a horrible artist myself. We sure do appreciate you being with us this morning.
All right, thanks, guys. Hey, I appreciate everything you guys do, to support the school and sports and everything like that. And I hope everybody out there is doing well. And I hope that I get to see everybody soon, very, very soon.
Well, thank you so much. Of course, Coach Stephen Shaw from the Caldwell County High School track team and track and field team. I guess I should say that correctly, huh? And he's also a history teacher. So a couple of different ways to look at that for Caldwell County. Stick around. We still got all kinds of stuff on Coffee Talk coming up next. 1580 103.3 WPKY.
Community Health Center is concerned about your overall health and the well-being of our communities. To help stop the spread of viruses, good hygiene is essential. That starts with washing your hands with soap and water. Together, we can help stop the spread and stay healthy. For more info or to make an appointment for care, call our office at 270-365-9445. Dr. Jamie Perry and Chelsea Akins are accepting new patients at 1100 South Jefferson Street, Princeton.
Planters Bank, located at 208 North Jefferson Street, is locally owned and operated with a strong, sincere focus on customer service. Planters Bank has a diverse team of seasoned professionals in Western Kentucky and Clarksville, Tennessee. Since first opening their doors, Planters Bank has made a name for itself as an energetic player in the financial services market. Stop by and talk to the friendly folks at Planters and find out about the You Choose Rewards program. Planters Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Wallace Towing.
All right, get out and enjoy the sunshine. And it'll be around for a while. High today of 66. Should see an increase in clouds later on. Then rain likely overnight tonight, a low down to 47. Tomorrow looks like rain, high near 50. Tomorrow night, slight chance of rain, low 37. And Thursday, partly sunny, a high near 63. Again, for today, looks like sun most of the day, increasing clouds, a high 66. 50 and clear, WPKY.
At ABC Finance, we have always been committed to keeping our customers and our staff safe and healthy.
In response to the recent COVID-19 coronavirus outbreak, we have implemented several new policies company-wide to ensure the safety and well-being of all.
This includes limiting access to parts of our office to the public, isolating loan closings to one area, and frequently sanitizing all hard, frequently touched surfaces.
We've also asked our staff to please stay home in the event they are feeling unwell.
If you, as a customer, are unwell or are uncomfortable with getting out of the house, stay home. And please remember, payments can be made by phone or online at abcfinanceonline.com.
You can also apply for a loan on our website with fast decisions and quick turnaround time.
If you have any additional questions, please contact the office nearest you. Locations are listed on our website, abcfinanceonline.com.
Also, follow us on Facebook for the latest information. And stay safe from all of us at ABC Finance.
1580 103.3 WPK. I had the most ill-timed Charlie horse in...
Oh, good.
I'm telling you. And I've been sitting over here doing this for like the last, when you can feel it coming on and if you take one breath or you move 1 inch, it's on like Donkey Kong. You know what I mean? You know that Charlie horse feel? That's what so if you see me stretching in odd different ways in the next few minutes, that's why. But on the phone this morning, I bet she knows something about people wiggling around in a chair. Miss Robin Shively, how are you this morning?
I'm great. How are you all?
We're doing fantastic. The sun is shining and a blood drive is on. We can't be bad, right?
No, we're good. We're good. We're going to get through this. We're working together, hanging tight. We'll be fine.
Can you fix my Charlie horse while you're at it? Because I'd appreciate it.
You know what? If I can't, my husband could, because we own shoe stores.
Well,
so,
that sounds good to me.
All about the feet. All about the feet.
What? How many do we need today? How many? What's our goal?
Well, first off and foremost, we need healthy people. We need healthy people. If you are sick, if you have a sore throat, if you have a headache, if you have, colored drainage, coughing, do not come in and donate today. Just wait. It may not be anything, but we just do not need anybody that is not 100% healthy today. As far as number, we're going to have to see how the day goes, because we are doing the social distancing. So only 3 people at a time can come on the bloodmobile, donate their blood, get off, another 3 gets on. So be patient with us. We're trying to protect you after every donation. They are wiping everything down in that bus, so they need that time to make sure that everything is clean for the next person to come in.
And, we've got some partners here, right here in locally, Trice Hughes, who, God bless them, I love them.
Oh, they are
Trice
wonderful.
Hughes and Wildcat Chevrolet. Now, what are they doing?
Well, they are giving every donor that comes in today an oil change.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And
it is.
When this community is in need, the Tri-Hughes Automotive family steps up and contributes. And we've got a wonderful day for a blood drive over at the Metroplex. The Bloodmobile, the West Kentucky Regional Blood Center Bloodmobile, will be at the Metroplex, the WKDZ WHVO studios today. And that begins at 10 and runs all the way to 5. Is that correct, Robin?
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. And the guidelines to donate are, if you are 17, you are legal to donate by yourself. If you're 16, you need your parents' consent, but we've got, the papers on the bus. And if you would like to download that and you're 16, you can download it at wkrbc.org. And just bring that paper with you, have it signed by your parents. You have to weigh at least 115 pounds. If you take medication, just bring a list of that medication with you. Most medications are acceptable, so don't think just because you're taking a medication that you are not allowed to donate, because that is not true. And then we want to make sure that you've only given blood in the last 56 days. So those are pretty clear-cut guidelines. Like I said, no one needs to be sick. If you're sick, please wait.
And everybody can rest assured they come out today to give blood. All the social distancing precautions and sanitation is in place, and it's there's nothing to worry about.
Absolutely. I mean, it is safe to donate blood. We do the same safety measures every time we draw a donor. Every time one person comes in and gives, they get the whole testing. We do the mini physical, we do the 10 different tests on their blood. Every time you donate, whether you've donated once or 100 times, so we make sure we have those safety measures in place already for the blood supply. But we're going to be extra special cleaning today, and just, want to make sure that we keep our blood supply safe and adequate, and that we keep our donors safe too.
Fantastic. Well, it's going to be a wonderful day. We know over at the Metroplex, the West Kentucky Regional Blood Center, and WKDZ, WHVO, WPKY, and, of course, the Tri-Hughes Automotive family, all teaming together to do something really cool for our community.
Absolutely. And we appreciate it so much.
Well, Robin, have a great day. Y'all have a great blood drive over there, and thank you for joining Tess and Ty this morning on Coffee Talk.
Awesome. Thank you.
Can you give that number one more time?
No, well, she gave the website where you can go on there and get the paperwork at the West Kentucky Regional Blood Center. So
bless her heart, they're doing a fantastic job, and we want to thank them. Again, they say one person giving blood saves 3 lives.
That's right.
So that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can save 3 lives and get a free oil, lube, and filter from Trice Hughes and Wildcat Chevrolet, I don't think you can get much better than that.
No doubt about it.
And thank you to Trice Hughes again and Wildcat Chevrolet. It's Coffee Talk, 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
At ABC Finance, we have always been committed to keeping our customers and our staff safe and healthy.
In response to the recent COVID-19 coronavirus outbreak, we've implemented several new policies company-wide to ensure the safety and well-being of all.
This includes limiting access to parts of our office to the public, isolating loan closings to one area, and frequently sanitizing all hard, frequently touched surfaces.
We've also asked our staff to please stay home in the event they are feeling unwell.
If you, as a customer, are unwell or are uncomfortable with getting out of the house, stay home. And please remember, payments can be made by phone or online at abcfinanceonline.com.
You can also apply for a loan on our website with fast decisions and quick turnaround time.
If you have any additional questions, please contact the office nearest you. Locations are listed on our website, abcfinanceonline.com.
Also, follow us on Facebook for the latest information. And stay safe from all of us at ABC Finance.
1580, 103.3 WPKY, Tess and Ty and Farmers Bank. I guarantee you, if you go over there, it'll be a sunshiny day when you see Jeff McDaniels.
Good morning.
Yes, it is good. It is good that the sun shines out. It sure makes the mornings go a lot better.
I thought I'd get more of a rise out of him than that. I will be honest. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are y'all?
We're good. We're enjoying the sunshine. I'll tell you, the one thing that I, with all of this going on and coronavirus and that sort of thing, you guys have really, and we need to give you guys a big, huge thank you as well, because you've gone out of your way to make things available for people, and you even have a certain time just for seniors, right?
Well, we did at one time when our lobbies were still open, but all the banks have gone to a limited access, appointment only kind of thing for lobbies, and I just want, a couple of things I wanted to share this morning. One of those being how much we appreciate. I'm getting an echo, Tess. I'm sorry. I keep hearing myself talk. Well, to get started again, one of the things we wanted to thank our customers for their patience as we've gone about this. We've really tried to be able to provide all the services that we always have, and we think we've been able to do that. I think, and again, I appreciate you calling, but I want to represent banking in general this morning, because I think the same thing's happening at the other banks, and I think it's an important part of time that we all are trying to pull in the same direction and those things. But I want to appreciate the customers there from that. Tess, you there? Can you hear me?
Oh,
Yeah. Did you drop? You must have dropped out, Jeff. But go right ahead. If you're having some sort of feedback or an issue there, I don't know if you have a radio on. You might turn it down if you're monitoring via the radio. But if you're just talking into your phone, you're probably okay.
Well, I was getting some feedback, but a tide has stopped, so I don't know what it is. I don't have the radio on.
Okay.
One of the things I wanted to talk about this morning that we're getting a lot of questions about, and I understand with all the news and what everybody's hearing, is especially from the small business side, which is predominantly almost every business that exists in our markets, is some of the SBA talk in terms of the loans that are out there and are going to be available. And I think I just wanted to give some clarifications on those, if I could, to try to help people understand. There's really two kinds out there. One that's actively that's active today and can be applied for, but only applied for direct through SBA. And those are the economic injury disaster loans that came out first, that SBA is handling those directly. But I think the one that most people are paying the most attention to is the CARES Act that was approved on Friday, and the Paycheck Protection part of that, those PPPL loans. And those will be available to apply for through banks, but that mechanism is not in place just yet. And that's the one that people are hearing about, that there's going to be some forgiveness on those for the businesses that are able to maintain payroll levels, keep their people employed, and those kind of things. So that is drawing a lot of attention. I can understand why. But I did want the listeners out there to understand that they're hearing a lot of different information, and I'm just trying to provide some guidance on that. Between those two, one is available to apply for today, straight through SBA. You can find that by going to the SBA.gov. But the one that's receiving the most talk is that one that, again, from Friday, and that'll be applied for through banks, and it'll be that paycheck protection loan that you keep hearing about. And I think there'll be a lot of interest in that. So just want to give everybody a heads up that as information on those is coming about, all the banks, including ourselves, will be providing that. I'm going to have Tiffany here. There was a good guide that came out today from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce on that second type that I was talking about, that we're going to put out on Twitter, where people can link to that and see that some of that information. It's one of those question and answers kind of things, and it has some really good information. So we'll try to get that out here before lunch today.
Well, I'm really glad that you did, though, because, when they put these things over on a lot of these news conferences, and they can even put graphics up, sometimes it's really hard to weed through, what this one is versus this one. Which one am I supposed to pay attention to? So, this is great information.
Well, again, I wanted to be able to provide that. And Tess, Ty, there's the one thing that we've learned over the last 2 or 3 weeks is, we used to kid about the Kentucky weather. If you don't like it, just stick around, and 15 minutes later it'll be different. That's a pretty good analogy when it's come to some of the information that we're making decisions on. Things just change so fast that it is what it is. And like I said, that CARES Act was approved by Congress and then signed by the president on Friday. And in that process of trying to get that information out, obviously the media is talking about it, as it should be. But again, I think it's been confused because they've heard, a lot of the folks have heard, well, there's already SBA things you can apply for, and that is true, but those two things are separate. So I thought I could provide some clarification on that.
Jeff, let's speak to the PPPL real quick here, and if you'll speak to that a little bit more. Now, this is for small businesses that keep their employees on the payroll, correct? And this is more of a payroll type stimulus or a loan that they will apply through the banks, correct, to keep their employees working.
Correct. I'll read you something here, Ty, real quick. And the loan proceeds are to retain workers and maintain payroll or make mortgage, lease, and utility payments. And the amount of loans, and this is something the small businesses may want to be working on, the amount of the loans are basically 2.5 times what your average monthly payroll would be. So in other words, and I think the measure on that is going to be for those businesses that were around all of 2019, which will be the heavy majority, is to take their average monthly payroll, figure out what that was for 2019, and then 2.5 times that will be their eligibility. Now, there is one exclusion. Those that were to make more than $100,000 a year are to be excluded from that calculation in terms of salary. But that's how that works. 2.5 times the payroll. And what can be included in that payroll: salary, wage, commission, even tips or the equivalent, vacation, any of the leave kind of stuff, those kind of things. So I think it's going to be most of those things. The only things that are excluded that we can see from that is, like I've already mentioned, any employee's annual salary was over $100,000, Payroll taxes are excluded from that calculation. I don't know that this would apply to too many people around here. If any employee who lives outside the United States, that's an exception too, but that probably won't affect too many of ours. And then there's some sick leave stuff too that I think will be pretty rare. But so pretty much a heavy percent of those payroll costs, that monthly average times 2.5, is the amount that will be applied for. And this is for this will cover almost all the small businesses in our area because it's for those that have 500 employees or less.
Right.
So that is something to be aware of as well.
What will the schedules look like on those?
You mean timing?
Right.
Well, that's still a little bit vague. What I'm hearing more about this process, Tess, I'm a little hesitant to answer because I know they're working as fast as they can, but we're anticipating sometimes later in the month that this process will be in place and go from there. I wish I had you a date to tell you that it was going to be April 15th or April 10th or April 25th. I don't know that information. I've just, in doing some research, it seems to be that the general consensus is that it'll be later in April.
Jeff, you've been around this business a long time. Of course, unprecedented situation here, but do you feel like the federal government has done enough? And do you think this first, at least these phases that have come out as far as stimulus is for individuals, families, and small businesses is going to help us in the short term or as we head in through the summer months?
Well, I think in the shortest of terms, I think this has been pretty appropriate. Obviously, politics is politics, and we hear a lot of different things. But it sure seems like that the two sides have come together on this CARES Act package, and I do think it's sort of a split between trying to get some money directly to the consumers as well as trying to get some money through the small businesses. So in the short term, I do think it's an interesting plan. Execution is going to be the most important part, and that's when you're doing things as fast as they're being done. I think I just encourage everyone to show some patience if they can. I know it's easier said than done. I think the most important thing here, Ty, to answer your question is it depends on when we can get close to normal, when we can get back.
Right.
And, if we all follow the rules that are being recommended for us to try to make this as short term as it can be, I think that ties into the answer to whether this is the right thing to do. I think in the short term, it is definitely the right thing to do. I just don't know how many more times hopefully we'll have to do it more than once.
Well, I know a lot of people that I've seen on social media, they say, I'm an employee. What does this matter to me? This isn't my thing. And they just kind of avoid that. But it really does. I mean, it matters a lot to Joe Public and the person on that, that's working for these companies. This kind of thing can be a big deal for them.
It can be. I do like that. The whole target of this, the second loan that'll be applied for banks that'll come about here in a little bit. The thing I like about that is that forgiveness. There's a forgiveness portion of that. I don't even think we've got that far. I apologize. There's actually a forgiveness part of that loan where the business can be forgiven for the principal. Now that's from the banking perspective, that's Ty. You've been around it. That's a little different kind of spin on this. But that forgiveness is based on keeping those day-to-day employees on the payroll and employed. So, Tess, going back to what you were saying, yes, it does. It has the ability to impact the employees as well.
Well, it really gives them an incentive to be kind and to really go out of their way and try to keep those employees on because it benefits the business.
That sure seems like that is the incentive here. Yes, it is.
Well, Jeff, I guess folks just need to hold fast. The SBA.gov site is a great site to go to for information for small businesses, for the existing loans, these new potential loans that are out there, but also to communicate with your local banker as far as the PPPL and some of these other things that are coming up.
Of course, you're listening to Coffee Talk here on WPKY Princeton. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, and just to finish up, like I said earlier, this U.S. Chamber, this guide on these loans, on the Paycheck Protection Program loans is is a very good guide. So we're going to get this posted out there. So if someone just wants to go to our Twitter feed or Facebook page, we'll try to get this link up where people can have access to that and read some more information. And if that doesn't work, if they want to reach out to us and have us email it to them, we can do that as well.
I started to say, you may have to explain this whole thing to me like 2 or 3 times. I will get it eventually. I promise. But that's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. It's happening fast. But that's what needs to be happening.
But that's where you come in, though, right? Farmers Bank, I mean, y'all are known for helping farmers and people in Caldwell and in the area to understand and be there when they need you.
Well, we're doing our best, and information is changing pretty frequently, but that we do feel that is our role, and we're going to do the best we can with that.
All right, Jeff, listen, thank you for the information, and probably we'll be talking to you again in a few weeks in the months ahead. And stay strong, my man, and appreciate the information today for our small businesses and what you all do at Farmers Bank to help the community. Appreciate you.
No problem. You guys don't hesitate to reach out if I could be of assistance.
All righty.
Well, you make sure you tell Tiffany Massey we said we missed her.
I will. I'll let her know.
Okay. Thank you. Jeff McDaniels, President and CEO of Farmers Bank and Trust, giving us a little information about some of the small business aid that was signed last week. And the President signed, went to through the Senate and the House of Representatives, and a lot of good help for our small businesses, Tess.
Well, and I think one of the big points that he hit home that was perfect is that, you know, a lot of people will listen to that and they say, you know what, it doesn't matter to me. I'm just I'm the blue collar guy. That none of that stuff matters to me because I'm the blue collar guy. What is that helping me for? That's helping the boss man, but not me. Well, that does help you, and you do need to pay attention to that because it's not about us and them anymore. It's about doing it together.
It's keeping on the payroll,
right? So. And it's a great incentive for doing that. But I mean, people can lose sight of that very quickly. And it's not an us versus them kind of scenario. So thank you for trying to explain that to us.
And again, it's just where you get your information from. So have questions, talk to your local banker, go to SBA.gov, that U.S. Chamber of Commerce. He said that the Farmers Bank will get that information out there on their website, so you may check with your local bank as well. And just stay informed to make sure your sources are where you need to be.
I love it. He actually explained it where I couldn't understand it. Yeah. And I'm, banking challenged somewhat. It is 9:10 on Tess and Ty and Coffee Talk. And you know what? We've had a full show and we've got a little late, but that's okay because we had a lot of information that we needed. If there's questions that you have, make sure you can contact Farmers Bank, and they've got great websites and all that good stuff. And again, if you've got birthdays, if you've got anniversaries, if you've got Pledge of Allegiances, if you've got well wishes, what do, Ty?
Well, the best way to do it is to email us. Give us the information, who wants to say a pledge or who's having a birthday, that kind of stuff. You can email us at wpkyonline@gmail.com. Also, don't forget the West Kentucky Regional Blood Center Blood Drive. West Kentucky Regional Blood Center Bloodmobile is over at our WKDZ WHVO Metroplex, just off I-24, US 68, in Cadiz today from 10 to 5. Donors receiving free oil change